Good afternoon, Las Vegas, and listeners from around the world. Thank you so much for joining us on Live Unleashed. My name is Kevin Lepine. I'm your host for the next hour, and we've got a lot of great things to talk about. We're going to have Mike Murray in here in a little while, a Vegas host and one of the guys who knows all the fun little backstage secrets and the ability to really enjoy yourself while you're here in town. Of course, we're going to have William Arendell joining us at the bottom of the hour. And this week at Hypnosis Unleashed, we had a great time. We had some really, really fun people. We managed to close the week out on a really, really fun note. It's what kind of makes doing the show for me. Those of you who don't know, I, of course, do the show Hypnosis Unleashed over at the Hooters Casino Hotel every Tuesday through Sunday at 8 p.m. And it's wonderful. I mean, every night I get to have different people up there on stage. I get to play around in their brains and get to really, really see the stars that they can be really come out to the forefront. And it's amazing to me sometimes when we have people who tell me they're very, very shy, but then once they're hypnotized, they can become very, very outgoing, and in that moment they can feel safe and secure in doing it. Of course, at Hypnosis Unleashed, all of Las Vegas's first responders, firefighters, police, EMTs, local military are always free. National first responders are only $12. And for this week as well, if you just mention Live Unleashed at the box office, all Las Vegas residents will get a $12 ticket. Come and join us. And, speaking about taking somebody who is very, very shy, and they volunteer on stage, which is very out of character for them. But they volunteer, they come up, they go under, and then all of a sudden they're very outgoing and they're very, very gregarious, I think is the word I'm going for. They remind me of something, and that is that one of the secrets to leaving behind negativity and to unchaining yourself to truly live an unleashed life, embrace your passions. Don't be afraid of them. Do not be shy. Don't hide from things that you really enjoy that make you you. There's a lot of things that there's a lot of things about ourselves that we consider dorky or nerdy or that we consider not cool. For example, my engineer Lawrence happens to be wearing a Doctor Who t-shirt right now, which oddly enough is the exact same Doctor Who t-shirt I was wearing yesterday. And it was funny because, me and my friends have talked about this. You think you're the only one who does something like that, but no, there's a huge community. And I think one of the great joys of the internet is no matter what you're into, you're going to find thousands of people who enjoy it as well. But when you embrace those things, that you're passionate about, you have the ability to meet other people with similar passions, and that can inspire you and help you to grow. Plus, if somebody shares one passion, there's a good chance they might share another one. And this really helps. People tell me that they're afraid of networking and that they don't want to be seen schmoozing, or, they think that network is slimy. It doesn't have to be. Networking can be as simple as embracing something that you love, taking part in things that other people who share in that activity love, and building a community and a group of friends. Networking, you can make friends in those circles, and that's the best network you're ever going to have. So always feel free to embrace the things you love. Don't hide from it, no matter if you think it's dorky or strange. For God's sakes, I make a living doing a hypnosis show. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. We're going to have Mike Murray on. We will talk to you soon. Hello, Las Vegas from Hypnosis Unleashed. All Las Vegas locals get half off every night at the show, Tuesday through Sunday, 8 p.m. Come and join us for Las Vegas's wildest hypnosis show. Watch your friends get turned into rock stars, watch them do the craziest things, or come and be hypnotized yourself. This show has won all the awards here in Las Vegas, and we want to show you why. Come join us every Tuesday through Sunday night. VegasHypnosisShow.com for more details. That's VegasHypnosisShow.com.
Hey, it's Roxy from the 702 Rock Show, right here at VegasAllNetRadio.com. Listen to my show every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear about local artists, musicians, fashion designers, and more, right here in Las Vegas. So tune in every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear me, Michelle Roxy Davis, right here at VANR on the 702 Rock Show.
Monday Mayhem is back at Gene Woods Racing Experience Go-Kart Track. The stakes are higher than ever, and the winner takes all if you've got what it takes. The winner will get to race a real Thunder Roadster at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in an actual race. So be there every Monday. First race starts at 7. Come early to register. We are located at 121 East Sunset Road at the Sports Center, across from McCarran Airport. For more information, call us at 702-270-8100. That's 702-270-8100. You can visit us on Facebook, or you can go to our website at racingexperiencelv.com. Once you race here, you won't go anywhere else. Monday Mayhem is back.
And welcome back to Live Unleashed. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Kevin Lepine. Joining me now is Mike Murray. Now, Mike has got a bunch of fun things to share. I met Mike actually when I moved here to town about 4 years ago, and we're going to talk a little bit about what he does and how he got here. But let me just start off with this. So, Mike, first of all, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that, as much as a weekday would be a downtime for what you do, Vegas never really slows down fully.
Right. Like last night, for instance, we've had a lot of people over at Palms, which is where I work. We had some different conventions coming in. Like this past weekend was actually Stupid Cancer that was there. So a lot of people came out for that convention, that conference, and they're here entertaining and enjoying themselves in Vegas while they're here through the week, not just the weekend. So
Now, you're a host over at the Palms.
Correct, yeah.
What does that mean?
Basically what that means is I do a marketing end where I do, look to bring new clients and people into the casino and also the nightlife and entertainment of Palms. But we also do like retention, where we take care of the guests, we bring them back, we make sure they're enjoying themselves and they like the property and want to keep coming back to us. So it's a little bit of both. It's marketing, to find them, to get them, to entice them to come, and then making sure they have a great time and retaining them. So
now, when people think host, now are we talking casino host where you're working with the gamblers, or are we talking host for the different events and activities at the Palms?
Right. That's a great question. And some people do, have that question a lot. So the difference between a VIP host and a casino host would be a VIP host does do more of the entertainment side, does a lot of the activities, the pools, the nightlife, the restaurants, meetings, those type of things. They make sure that the guests are having a great time in terms of the hospitality end. Whereas on the casino side, they do take care of the hosts, or I'm sorry, the clients or the different customers coming in to make sure that their stay at the hotel is great. But they also want to make sure, and their main priority is to make sure that they're having the great experience out on the casino floor. So the main difference is a VIP host takes care of more of the activities, like you said, and the casino host takes care of more of the gaming side of things.
So you may even work hand in hand with the casino hosts if they have, a group of players who want to do things.
Absolutely. So that happens regularly, all the time. In the past, the bread and butter of Las Vegas was definitely gaming. You can kind of see in a lot of the new venues and the things that are going on in the city that there's been a slight transition where people don't come here specifically for gaming per se. They also come for a lot of the entertainment. So yeah, we definitely work hand in hand with not only just the casino hosts, but also the sales, the marketing. Basically it's a collective effort of everybody working in the casinos to make sure the guests are having a great time. And if we can, work together and facilitate whatever the requests of the guests may be, we try to make sure that happens.
Now, you didn't grow up here in Vegas. You like me, grew up in the blistering, freezing, stupid cold. Where'd you start your adventure?
Oh, I wouldn't say it was always cold. They had some nice weather, probably a week out of the year when it wasn't overcast, I guess. But I'm from Ohio. I'm from outside of Columbus, about 20 miles east, in a small town called Pataskala. So it's quite a change coming from Ohio out to Las Vegas. So it's been definitely enjoyable. And
what inspired you to make that jump? I mean, because it's not like you can get experience as a VIP host in a small town in Ohio. So it's not
That's
like you
right.
can just jump out here and go, well, here's my resume. You need to have me.
No, that's correct. And honestly, that wasn't really part of my, I guess, goal of coming out here at all. It was really just something I fell into. I guess to answer your question, almost why did I come out here? It really was a little bit of a what the hell, in part. It was a sink or swim kind of idea. I figured after college, going to Ohio State, I could just get a job working somewhere inside of Columbus, hang out there, and I pretty much knew what the progression of my life probably would have been in a lot of ways. So I decided at one point, hey, I want to try something. And more or less, it was myself and a friend of mine who also went to Ohio State. We basically packed our cars one day and took off across the country. Didn't have a place to stay. We stayed in actually one of the budget suites just right off the strip for about a month before we found a small apartment to live in. So it really was kind of a sink or swim mentality, just to get up, try something, see where it takes you, and that's kind of how I became a VIP host as well. So.
And we're going to talk about how you swam and the stuff that you're doing, and really how it's great for so many different things. But let me ask you this. So let's say it had gone the other way. Let's say that you hadn't flourished. What would have happened?
Well, I could actually answer that. And I was out here. Actually, I've been out here twice. So when I initially came the first time, I was young. I was 21. I actually took a break from college and just decided, hey, I'm going to come out here and check it out for a few months, see how it is. So I came out here, and I wouldn't say that it didn't flourish, because I feel like Vegas is a growing place. There's a lot of opportunity. It just, if you have a mindset, say more like, you could say like the mindset of the Midwest, it might be a little bit more closed-minded in a sense than say, different larger cities in some way. It might be a little bit more family-oriented, where you come out here, and if you have a certain idea of it just being one way of doing things, it's not. You can try all different types of things. Not that you can't do that in, say, Ohio or the Midwest, but I feel like there's opportunity here that you wouldn't have there just because the industries are different.
And it's not saying that anything in Ohio is a bad
Not
life.
at all.
It's not. It isn't. It's just sometimes you want to take a shot. You want to try something differently, and it's kind of nice to know that you can take that shot. And if it doesn't exactly go the way you want, it's not like Ohio's going to close its doors to you.
Exactly. So going back to what you were asking, if it went the other way. I moved back for a few years, and I actually went back to college, finished up my degree, but I returned. I came back because there was something that kind of drew me back into the city. There was still a lot of excitement. So it's had its challenges, some ups and downs. Initially, when I came back, I wanted to go a more traditional route, and I was looking to get on and doing some banking and that sort of thing, and some sales more similar to what I might do in other cities. But I got an opportunity to start doing some promotion and also doing some hosting and some marketing and that sort of thing in nightlife with Light Group originally. And I decided to take up that opportunity kind of as I was interviewing with the other companies. And I stuck with it, and I've been doing it now for over 4 years, and it's been a great ride. It's been a lot of fun. I've met a lot of great people, but it definitely wasn't my initial plan, I guess, coming out here. But it's been great. I have nothing but positive things to say about my experience, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes, it's not always the first plan you have. Sometimes you adapt to a situation and grow with an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And let's just let's kind of play paparazzi for just a second here, because
Okay.
of course, when you're talking about Vegas, I think that's one of people's huge fascinations. Some of the names that you got to meet by being a VIP host in some of the clubs.
Jason Aldean, I've hung out with him personally quite a bit. I actually just met Floyd Mayweather actually just a couple days ago, and I'm actually might be working with him to set up a party for one of his assistants, and I wish him luck on his upcoming fight.
Oh, yeah.
So he was a great guy. Locally, he's a hero, and he does a lot of great things for the city. So that was one person recently. The list goes on. Nickelback, One Republic, George Strait.
I remember you kind of pointing me out towards Carlos Santana one night.
Carlos
actually.
Santana, yeah,
He's beautiful.
He's been up there. We've had Michael Douglas, Matt Damon. They were actually doing the Behind the Candelabra.
Oh yeah.
And we did when I was working at House of Blues. We had done their after party for after like a wrap up for the filming. So I've met some of their staff. So that was been great. Michael Douglas had dinner with Catherine Zeta-Jones at the time. I think they were still together. But yeah, the list goes on. I remember this is actually a funny story. I was working when I first started. I was at Bellagio working for Light Group for Bank Nightclub. And I was walking through the casino, and I see this huge commotion over by one of the blackjack tables. And I was kind of looking over the crowd and seeing, what was going on. And next thing you know, I seen a gentleman dart from the crowd a little bit, and I'm walking right beside him, and we're walking really fast. And I turn over, and it's Rod Stewart. And we're walking through the casino, and it's kind of a paparazzi moment where people are kind of chasing him down and looking for an autograph, and he's looking over to me, and I'm in a suit, and he's like, get me out of here, kind of. But he was loving it. And I was like, well, I don't really actually work for the casino, right? And so we had a chuckle. It was funny, and he kind of ran off with some of his people that he were with in the main lobby there. So that was definitely a fun little experience, especially being fresh and new to Las Vegas.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that was cool.
And the reason I wanted to ask you about the celebrities is now I want to go on the other side of this with people who feel that they can't get into one of these clubs. A guy's here with his buddy. It's a smaller bachelor party. It's 4 friends coming to Vegas, and they feel that they can't get into these clubs.
Well, there's to answer that question, there's something for everybody in Las Vegas. There's definitely some of the more exclusive venues that are a little bit more difficult to get into, or if they have certain cover charges or table minimums for VIP services. So there are different types of entry and way to access the different types of nightclubs or venues in Las Vegas. Foundation Room, for example, that used to be more of an exclusive venue where it was membership only. They've even opened up their doors a little bit. So you could pay a cover charge and go up there. Right now I work for Palms Casino, and we have Ghost Bar. Which is
a phenomenal place.
It definitely is. It's a lot of fun. They just recently did a remodel, and they're doing some other renovations throughout the hotel. But it is definitely an upscale ultra lounge. They have DJs nightly, and we do allow both hotel guests and other public to come up either with a cover charge or through a guest list. So it's really easy to come in. You could contact one of the hosts like myself if you're wanting to set up some sort of VIP service or get on a guest list, which usually the guest list does give you a reduced admission. A lot of times ladies get in free with the guest list. And then there's different ranges for the VIP service, like a bottle service, that sort of thing. So It's definitely accessible for people to come in if you're with a small group and not necessarily even looking to spend a huge amount of money. It's definitely accessible for them.
I think that's what people don't really understand about some of these experiences. So, like, if they meet a guy like you, not only can you go, all right, what are you guys looking for? Because you can kind of position out, oh, you're looking to spend this much, you're looking to
kind
do
of an
this.
itinerary in a sense.
Plus, also, you don't just have, now you work with the Palms.
Sure.
You do all that, but that doesn't mean that you don't know about some of the other activities.
Right.
And how to, schedule a restaurant and this and that.
Sure.
Like, if somebody contacts you, they're from Nebraska, they want to come to Vegas, they have 4 guys. Like, what can you do to help make their trip to be the experience they want it to be?
Sure. So what I would usually do is say if I'm contacted by a group, let's say it's 4 guys, like you said, from Nebraska, and they're not necessarily sure what they want to do, but they know they want to go out, they want to enjoy themselves a little bit. Of course, first thing I would try to do is see if they've been to Palms before, see where they're staying, and see if I could get them to come enjoy themselves at one of my venues, either 9 Steakhouse for dinner, out at Palms Pool for maybe Ditch Friday, to enjoy the day
that
club.
Pool is gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's really, really a great chill little place to relax. And
definitely. And we're actually kicking off, just a sidetrack for a minute, we're opening up for Ditch Friday this coming Friday on May 2nd. So that's usually our big party for the kickoff of the year. So would love to have everybody come out. If you need anything, obviously I'll give you my information before the end of the show here to get set up for that. But
and just really quickly, in case people are bouncing in and out of listening, what is the best way to reach you?
I'll go ahead and give you my Twitter handle. It's at Mike James Murray. Again, at Mike James Murray. And you could contact me, send me a tweet, or you could direct message me or follow me there, and I can answer any questions that you might have and reach out to you personally. But going back to what we were talking about with the guys from Nebraska. So what we might do is try to set them up maybe at first at one of my venues that I work at, Market. Let's say they want to go elsewhere, though. With my connections and, like you were saying before, my network that I've created over the years that I've worked here, I could arrange for reservations or guest lists, those types of things at other venues. And a lot of times those hosts would give a similar deal that what I could do over at my venues. So we work together, in the city, the different VIP hosts and different people that have established relationships from, going back to what you were saying, networking, to basically make whatever experience those people are looking for happen.
And this may sound odd to people right now who are listening. They're like, wait a minute, McDonald's isn't going to send people over to Burger King. But as much as, for example, the Palms, I'm sure that the owners of the Palms would love to think that somebody's going to fly into Vegas, pull into their hotel, spend every moment at their hotel, at their nightclub, and on their gaming floor, at their pool. But that's not how Vegas works, really.
Largely, you're correct. Don't get me wrong. We try.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do try. We want to keep people on property and having the best time they can, where we work. It's like, let's say, for instance, they come to Palms. Like I said, we want them going out on the casino floor at Palms, going up to 9 Steakhouse, going to Ghost Bar, going to Palms Pool, having a great time in the room, in the suites. But let's say they do want to go elsewhere. The great thing about having that network and having met so many great people in Las Vegas is there's a reciprocation. So if I send people that want to go a certain place to another host, generally, that's like servicing the customers. So that's how you get a little bit of that retention. If you are the person that they kind of confide in and trust, and you send them off to make sure that they're settled and set up at another venue, they're going to keep coming back to you because they trust and they respect you. And having that relationship with the other person, you already kind of have an in at the next place where they know that they're going to have an assurance that they'll be taken care of and not just kind of thrown to the wolves out there. So it definitely is a positive experience for the guests in terms of making sure that they have the best experience and not having to kind of jump through all the hurdles.
And nowadays, especially with internet pricing, it's really hard to get people's loyalty to keep coming to one place when they might be able to save X amount here or there.
Sure.
But if somebody comes here from Maine and it's their first time and they stay at the Palms and they meet you and you're able to set up all of these experiences for them, they know that when they come back to Vegas, if they go to the Palms, they're not going to the Palms now. They're going to their buddy Mike,
Sure.
who's going to make sure that their trip is everything they want it to be.
Exactly. So again, that's why we try to, as hosts and different people networking in Las Vegas, try to establish great relationships with people within the city, so that when I do have guests come in or they do become friends and clients, that we can basically, retain them as, great people coming into the city and making sure that they have a great time.
Now, of course, you don't have the ability to read minds.
True.
But
I wish I did.
it would make everybody's job easier and
Sure.
way more terrifying. But
True.
what do you think is the one thing that people don't realize that establishing a relationship with a host can do for them?
What it does is it allows them a different level of access. You can go to a club and generally you could get in, or you can set up a reservation, or you can get whatever you need to done, say, without a host and per se. But you're not going to have the same level of service in some sense. If you go through me, I can let the management know. Say you have a restaurant reservation, to make sure that the manager comes over and you meet other people that you can become friends with in Las Vegas. So it's, in a sense, it's almost opening up those guests to a certain networking within the city as well. And they could use that for different businesses that they might be here for, if they're for a conference or they want to entertain in the future. So it really opens up their networking capabilities within Las Vegas, because let's face it, everybody loves Las Vegas. Everybody loves to come here, visit, have fun, have their conferences, everything like that. So going through a host allows you a certain level of access that you wouldn't otherwise have. I mean, it's a way to kind of break through the noise a little bit and make sure that you have the best experience, really.
And it really does make a huge difference, because Vegas can be such an overwhelming town. But when all of a sudden it's not just, well, you're going to go to Nine Steakhouse tonight. When it's, I want you to go over to the steakhouse and you're going to see this person. She's the hostess. Your table's already set. The manager comes by, and now you almost feel like you're in that neighborhood place
Sure.
in your hometown.
Yeah, it makes it very simple, very easy for people to not have to worry about the small details of, just getting pointed in a certain direction. It's not getting turned around. You kind of have a little bit of an itinerary. You have information, which, let's face it, information's key, and people with information, they're usually,
yes.
It makes life so much easier. So that's what being a host is about. It's about getting people the information that they need in order to have a great experience,
Now, Mike's Twitter handle, again, is at Mike James Murray.
Correct.
And I'll be putting that on my Facebook. I'll be putting that on the Live Unleashed Facebook page as well. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. William Arendell should be joining us in a few minutes, and we'll talk to you in just a bit.
Monday Mayhem is back at Gene Woods Racing Experience Go-Kart Track. The stakes are higher than ever, and the winner takes all if you've got what it takes. The winner will get to race a real Thunder Roadster at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in an actual race. So be there every Monday. First race starts at 7. Come early to register. We are located at 121 East Sunset Road at the Sports Center, across from McCarran Airport. For more information, call us at 702-270-8100. That's 702-270-8100. You can visit us on Facebook, or you can go to our website at racingexperiencelv.com. Once you race here, you won't go anywhere else. Monday Mayhem is back.
Hey, it's Roxy from the 702 Rock Show, right here at VegasAllNetRadio.com. Listen to my show every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear about local artists, musicians, fashion designers, and more right here in Las Vegas. So tune in every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear me, Michelle Roxy Davis, right here at VANR on the 702 Rock Show.
Hello, Las Vegas from Hypnosis Unleashed. All Las Vegas locals get half off every night at the show, Tuesday through Sunday, 8 p.m. Come and join us for Las Vegas's wildest hypnosis show. Watch your friends get turned into rock stars, watch them do the craziest things, or come and be hypnotized yourself. This show has won all the awards here in Las Vegas, and we want to show you why. Come join us every Tuesday through Sunday night. VegasHypnosisShow.com for more details. That's VegasHypnosisShow.com. Our guest welcome back to Live Unleashed. Our guest is Mike Murray. We're talking about different things that you can do with a VIP host here in town, and that sounded way weirder than I intended it to right there. Of course, anytime, please feel free to email us at info@VegasHypnosisShow.com. That's info@VegasHypnosisShow.com. You can always email me with questions. VegasHypnosisShow.com is my main website. You can add me on Facebook, add me on Twitter, ask any questions. We'll gladly do what we can. We already posted up Mike's Twitter handle, which is at Mike Murray.
At Mike James Murray.
I'm sorry, at Mike James Murray. And joining us now is William Arendell. Will, how are you?
I'm doing great. Enjoying Jazz Fest that's just begun here in New Orleans over this past weekend. And, the weather is wonderful down here. It's really nice to meet you, Mike. Mike, I was wondering, you talked a lot about networking. And what I was wondering is, what are some of the things that you think people need to know about networking? What are the things you think of when you're trying to network with people?
It's a good question. It's a pleasure to meet you as well. I think what it is it's really just about kind of being yourself in a lot of ways, and if following through on what it is that you might be speaking through. If you're working out some sort of business arrangement or something like that, definitely keep in touch, follow up, and follow through. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And that, in a lot of ways, kind of gives you a lot of respect in terms of being on the other side. And that's a lot of what networking is. It's getting past that initial introduction or meeting with somebody, following up and following through. And I think that helps establish a relationship, and over time it just becomes second nature.
And I don't think that immediate follow-through will give you instantaneous credibility, but not following through will instantaneously destroy credibility fast.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
And also, I mean, that's also a really big point to me, too, is being yourself when you're networking. If you're fake, people know it, and they don't want to be around that.
Sure.
Yeah. Did you find yourself, when you first started networking, especially in this, strange world landing in Vegas, being afraid to ask for what you wanted?
A little bit. And basically, I was pretty young as well. So, it was all pretty new to me. There's a lot of flashing lights. But really what it was is just kind of giving yourself a kick in the butt and just doing it. And, try again, if it fails, keep going at it, and eventually you'll start to see the fruit of your labor a little bit with people, contacting you, and you get things done, and just one day you wake up and you're like, wow, I was doing it,
Do you have any stories about when you kind of were afraid to ask for something and you did, and you kind of got what you wanted or even more than you expected? It really worked out for you?
I'd have to think for a moment. I'm sure there's some stories.
Or even just a person you were afraid to reach out to, and all of a sudden...
Oh, yeah, I can say definitely it's slightly intimidating in some ways, kind of working with some of the casino executives. And what you find is, they, you reach out to them. You might not expect as much at first, but over time, what you realize is, they need to make sure that the customer's happy, and they begin looking to come to you for things, and you realize that you do have, a lot of value, especially inside their casino. So that's definitely a great feeling. That at first it was, a little intimidating in a certain way, because they carry a title or whatnot, and they're in a position of power inside the actual, the casino, which is the lifeblood of Las Vegas, and you're doing things inside the casino. But you be yourself, you network with them, you follow through. Next thing you know, they're contacting and reaching out to you to try to take care of their most valuable people at the casino. So that's a great.
And there's a big truth to that, because when we're talking about some of the bigger players for the casino's goal is to make it as hassle-free as possible. So once you've shown your credibility, and they know that if I hand this guy to you, he's not going to have a hassle, he's going to have a great night.
Sure, absolutely. They'll have a great night, a great experience. A lot of times they'll understand that, hey, I don't even need to reach out to that executive or that person inside the hotel. I know that I can just contact Mike myself personally, and next thing you know, I've got a Rolodex that has, business people, celebrities, different executives, those type of things.
Anyone under 20 has no idea what a Rolodex is. If anybody is under 20 and listening to the show, he's talking about something that you used to put phone numbers and business cards in.
Well, I actually don't even have a Rolodex. I just, was using it.
Yeah, the name still exists.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, Will, you and I are going to jump into the Wayback Machine for just a second here. Because when we're talking about, what you do, Mike, when you're talking about any sort of tourist destination, it can be overwhelming because you have so many people advertising and scrambling and spending all this money to get people's attention.
Yeah, there's a lot of options for sure.
And at one point in New Orleans, Will and I both worked as tour guides for the Ghost and Vampire tours down there. And it was amazing just because we were dealing with the amount of people we were dealing with. How many restaurants came to us, how many different galleries came to us, because they wanted to be able to meet the people who now trusted us because they were with us. And I don't think at the time, Will, you and I really realized how valuable that networking was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just found out when I pointed out restaurants once in a while, I'd get a free dinner, and I thought that was kind of cool. And, especially after Katrina, it became really important because, a lot of the tour guides had their favorite business that they were trying to keep in business so they can continue to go there. And so we would try and point these things out, hoping that people would go there just so they would survive. And some really did survive and flourish.
But it surprises me because if we'd have really had that mindset back then, if we would have kept track of everybody who came on our tours, if we would have really formed those relationships and understood what else they were looking to do on their vacations, the opportunities we could have created for them. And it wouldn't even have seemed like networking because much like you, Mike, with these guys who you're bringing into these clubs and these events, they're not looking at you as a business relationship. They're looking at you as he was part of what made our vacation such an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, it's actually, I'd say, a double-edged sword at times because, so much so that, when you contact or reach out to them or they reach out to you, they sometimes forget that you're on business and you're still working and you're still trying to, take care of business in a sense, and they want you to go along with the whole journey with them while they're in town and whatnot. So it's a double-edged sword for sure.
I mean, but like you're saying, Mike, just having that information of the things that are happening here in town. When a group goes, oh yeah, we're going to spend tonight walking this part of the strip. Your ability to go, oh well, there's this, and this to see. There's this person to meet. I mean, that pointing them out to one special thing can change their entire vacation.
Well, that's true. That's definitely true. People come for different reasons, whether it's a wedding party or a bachelor party or a divorce party, or family vacation or a conference. Everybody's looking for, certain things that is going to make their time here the most entertaining. So if I can help make that happen for them, you not only kind of retain a customer, but you gain a friend, and you have a great time with them, and you have that experience with them. So that's always really cool.
And
I think Mike too. One of the things that sounds like you do pretty naturally, and it's really important for networking, is just to be easy. Be easy to get a hold of. Be easy to talk to. Don't make 20,000 rules around yourself. One of the, Kevin, and one of his incarnations is the Flying Cat, a group called the Flying Cat Circus. And one of the reasons they got bookings is because they advertised being easy to work with. And I think people, who are trying to move up in their careers sometimes act like prima donnas, and I think that puts a glass ceiling on a lot of people. Being easy to work with, I think, is really important. It sounds like you do that pretty naturally.
I tried, definitely. If don't get me wrong, there are certain times that you have to set up a contract or something like that, and you do need to take care of business, in kind of a firm hand, if you will. But or make sure that you cross your T's, and dot your I's or whatnot. But yeah, just remember what it is that you're doing, and it's hospitality. It's not supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's not supposed to be a hassle. So if you can kind of break the chains of that, being part of their experience, then that's kind of what you're there for.
And I think there is a stereotype that exists in your profession, which is one of the reasons I wanted to bring you in. Because you don't live up to these stereotypes, and actually most of the people that you've introduced me to around town don't live up to this. Which is, there is this stereotype that if you're not wearing the right coat or the right shoes, that these hosts are going to look at you and just blow you off immediately. And if you don't appear to be in the quote-unquote in crowd, that these hosts are just going to ignore you and treat you like a waste of time. And
they do it at some places for sure. So, yeah, to try to debug that, it's here's why in a lot of ways. I've learned that you can't really judge a book by its cover, as cliche as that sounds. But I can tell you, here's a story. There was actually a gentleman, he was from Alabama. He was a successful businessman. I wouldn't know it. He was dressed, he had cut off. He was wearing slippers, just kind of running around. He came up and he was kind of talking to me a little bit. And it turns out that he was definitely a successful businessman. He wanted to come and enjoy himself and use me to help set up his different reservations. So it's people like that you realize, there's no... the stereotype is not really the best way to go about it. The young, the hip, the cool, the whatever, that isn't necessarily the best person to even cater yourself to, just simply because they're trying to put up a certain facade. They're not being themselves in a lot of ways. So you try to pick out and just go with people's genuine nature, and a lot of times that works out better.
There's definitely a huge truth to that. I think a lot of the most successful people that I've known who walk around Vegas in like a sweatshirt, or just they don't look like you expect a high roller to look. And I've noticed that some people who are trying to put forth that image, 3 sentences into talking to them, you realize they're wearing a Halloween costume.
Pretty much. Mind you, they still, they look good. They keep up the, it does still help business in a lot of ways, because you do want people to kind of look good and have that, that marketability in a certain way, because, you'd obviously want to have still nice, upscale type of places, because, people kind of flock to that a little bit. But you still want it to be unique and to have a certain individuality about it as well.
And when now you said that over at the Palms, more than a nightclub, it's an ultra lounge, which is actually my favorite types. But what's the difference between a nightclub and an ultra lounge?
Well, a nightclub is more, it's a large venue, usually a couple stories, a lot of lighting. It's packed to the T, loud. It's a place where you're going to kind of rage in a way. You're going there to drink, party, dance, and you're completely kind of enthralled in that whole environment, which there's definitely a lot of people that go there. There's huge mega clubs that people are flocking to, and it's definitely a new way to experience Vegas. But the difference between a nightclub and say an ultra lounge is usually a smaller venue where it's a little bit more personal. You bring your group of friends or clients or whoever you're visiting with or people that you've met, and you could still have a lot of the same amenities with a table, getting served by a cocktail waitress, all that. But it's usually a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate, but still have a lot of that fun environment with dancing, with the DJ, with lighting. But it's not necessarily always the place that's, packed in like sardines. And a lot of times I've found that people really, really enjoy that. Or they'll do a nightclub one night and an ultra lounge another night. And sometimes they have more fun at the ultra lounge because you make your party with your group of friends, whereas in a nightclub you're just kind of being you're being corralled in a sense to just wherever the group's taking you.
Now, we're going to sidetrack in a second, but once again, Mike's Twitter handle is at Mike James Murray. Add him on there. He's a phenomenal guy. He can make any night in Vegas way more fun. Will, I wanted to throw it to you. We, besides just the mental aspect of living unleashed, we also like to talk about physical, and I know you had something you probably wanted to talk about today.
I do, and actually I'm going to talk about today a little bit about something people usually think is a mental aspect, and actually it has a lot of physical components to it, and that's attention deficit disorder. And I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about what attention is, what attention deficit disorder is. It's something that's really hard to put your finger on because you're diagnosing, a lot of times mental disorders are diagnosed by symptoms, not causes. And even though we do now, especially the last 10 years, have so much to say about the causes of things, or at least the correlations of causes, there's still a lot of confusion because attention is really the fever of the brain. No matter what you do to it, the result is inattention. I mean, think about your own experience. If you get a cold, you're inattentive. If you have depression, you're inattentive. So it's really hard in some ways to diagnose this thing we call attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I still run into teachers all the time when doing lectures around New Orleans that don't think that it's real. I'm here to tell you that I've done, at this point, hundreds of EEGs on people, and there is countless studies out there where showing that attention deficit disorder is a real thing. It's not that people with attention deficit disorder can't focus their attention. It just takes them a lot more effort. For instance, on a scale from 1 to 10, if it takes somebody a 4 to do a task, it takes somebody with attention deficit disorder a 7 of attention to produce the same result, and their attention is limited. One of the things that's a misnomer is that attention deficit disorder people can't focus on anything. And so if they can focus on something for a period of time, then that makes them makes it so they don't have it. Well, that's not necessarily true. There's really 5 different types of attention deficit disorder, and the 6th classification is really a combination of those. And some focus really well. Others don't focus well at all, and they focus really well on certain things. So the classifications I'm actually talking about are going to come from actually a guy whose research I've followed quite a bit called Daniel Amen. You can look it up on the web, and he really pioneered some of the classifications that I'm about to talk about just very briefly. The first classification is classic attention deficit disorder. And in classic ADD, they're inattentive, they're distractible, they're disorganized, they're pretty hyperactive, they're restless, and really impulsive. When you see these kids, they're good at bringing negative attention to themselves. And these problems are caused deep in the brain, in the caudate nucleus, a place within the basal ganglia. The second classification of ADD it's just an inattentive type ADD. And these kids actually show a normal brain at rest when you're doing brain scans. And during concentration, the activity in their prefrontal lobe reduces. They're inattentive, but unlike the first classification, they're not really hyperactive. They're sluggish, they're slow moving, they often look really bored. When you see these kids, they have a heavy look about them. Almost even their eyes will look heavy and tired. The third type of ADD is called over-focused ADD. It is different than what they call obsessive-compulsive disorder. But in the over-focused ADD, the problem is that they're always focused on something for too long. They have trouble discerning when they need to stop focusing on one thing and focusing on another. And so these kids will be focused on the last piece of homework and some piece of trivial data about the homework, but they don't have the rituals that obsessive-compulsive disorder kids have. So they have really trouble shifting attention from one thing to another. They're also really good at worrying. These are kids who will start to worry about something little that happened. The next one is a temporal lobe ADD, temporal being on the side of the head, and there's a slowing there during concentration. And these kids are inattentive, but they're also, unlike the last classification, they're kind of irritable and aggressive. They have lots of dark thoughts or angry thoughts. Their mood can pop up and down. And they're prone to impulsivity as well. The next type is a limbic ADD. And those kids, and the limbic system's kind of the stoplight of the brain, down there in the center, kind of above the brainstem. They tend to present with a chronic low-grade depression. They tend to not think things are positive. They have a glass half empty syndrome to them. They have low energy, lots of worthlessness, but they won't quite get down to what we would call depressed. Although, that category really does have a lot of overlapping problems or overlapping symptoms with depression, and those two are sometimes a little bit interchangeable. And the last thing, go ahead.
We've got to start getting into wrap-up, Bill. We're just about running out of time.
No problem.
Where can people go to get more information to properly get diagnosed?
You can go to your local mental health clinic, and you can also get more information at helpneworleans.com.
Always a great website to go further in depth with any of the physical things that Will's talking about. helpneworleans.com. It's an amazing site. I'd like to do a quick shout out to Emily Sanders, Corrine Randall, Fielding West, and Kyle Thrower, all people who've been commenting on the Facebook while we've been doing the show. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, you can reach Mike at Mike James Murray. That's his Twitter handle. It's a great way to get a hold of him and really enjoy your time here in Vegas. VegasHypnosisShow.com is the website. Once again, that's VegasHypnosisShow.com. You can add us on Facebook, add us on Twitter, email us, talk to us. We're always excited to hear from you. On behalf of myself and Will, Mike, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you so much.
And we will see you next week.
Whether I'm training for a marathon, kickboxing.
Monday Mayhem is back at Gene Woods Racing Experience Go-Kart Track. The stakes are higher than ever, and the winner takes all if you've got what it takes. The winner will get to race a real Thunder Roadster at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in an actual race. So be there every Monday. First race starts at 7. Come early to register. We are located at 121 East Sunset Road at the Sports Center, across from McCarran Airport. For more information, call us at 702-270-8100. That's 702-270-8100. You can visit us on Facebook, or you can go to our website at racingexperiencelv.com. Once you race here, you won't go anywhere else. Monday Mayhem is back.